Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put this rim on this tire. I just took it off. I'm flipping it over. I guess the first thing I'll show you. You got some pretty bad damage. I mean, it's bald on this edge. And then down there you got tread. Now, it may seem retarded to do what we're doing, but that car right there is a really good little car. But the underside of that car is in horrible, I mean absolutely awful shape. Same with the passenger side of that car. It looks a lot nicer because it got some junkyard doors. But this car was in a really bad wreck like 8 years ago, and yeah. The entire underside's bent. I took it into auto body collision, asking the teacher if we could like do an alignment on it. And as soon as we put it up in the air, he's like, no, dude. He's like, this thing is done. I mean, the K-frame is bent, and then the actual whole body is like curled in. So yeah, I have some adjustable shocks on it and got them as close as I could get them, but you can still feel the steering fight itself when you drive. Anyway, it's got a good powertrain in it. So this tire had been eaten on that edge now, and so we're gonna flip it so it can wear on the other edge, just so we can get as much use as we can out of each tire. It's only the front. It's only the front that does that, and it's mainly the passenger side. This is just the driver's side wheel. So anyway, first thing you're gonna do is just push the tire on as far as you can get it. And then I recommend 3 pry bars. You can do 2 if you want, or an actual tire tools, more preferred, but I don't got one of those. If you just be really careful not to tear that edge of the bead there. Here, I'll flip it so you can see. I've been doing this for a while now. Yeah, I put like 15,000 miles in the car, and sadly it ate 5 tires. 4 tires so far. Now, keep in mind they're kind of just crappy, old, used, worn out tires, but I knew something was wrong when I bought the car because that tire was pretty worn down, the one that was on there originally when I bought it. And then the other tire on the passenger side was only like a year old, and I mean like brand new tread and a little bit unevenly worn. And so I knew something was a little goofy, and that's when I looked under the car, which pre-inspection, why wouldn't I look under it immediately? It was $400, and it was kind of just exciting because I've always liked those little crappy Dodge Neons. It was an older couple, and that thing, oh, it runs like a top. So finding one that's not, neglected maintenance-wise is impressive, especially considering that was garaged. So even though the underside's bent, it's impressive because the freaking paint on it is like new. Anyway, I will shut up about the stupid car. This here is a Dodge Daytona wheel because I have a set of Daytonas on it now. And 15-inch tires are more easy to come by, like on the Chevy. I don't know about Cavalier. I think they're 15s on the Cavalier, but the Cobalt and stuff like that are, pretty common at junkyards. And so getting hands on tires are pretty cheap. Anyway, just keep working it around the edge, and it will eventually fall through. Then you can flip it over very carefully. I don't want to slam the rim down on the concrete, especially since it's aluminum. I don't think it would really do anything, but it wouldn't be like a hard enough impact to crack it. And there is a mark on this tire because it was flipped once before. And yeah. And that's the mark for my, not alignment, it's because I didn't take the wheel weights off, so it should be balanced whenever I put it back to that mark. Although it looks like the mark's gone. Is that the mark? I don't see any other mark. There it is. See it? It's got the reddish hue. And that right there, I lined it right with the valve stem, and I took it off several months ago to flip it. Because I was thinking it was going to eat on the other side of the tire. And so I flipped it, and then it turns out it just started chewing more and more on that edge. And I was like, damn. Because I was trying to get it to eat on one side of the tire. And it turns out it's eating the other side of the tire. So anyway, we'll go ahead and step on that. And yeah, just trying to make sure she's kind of in place, so to speak. I'm gonna turn it that way, and we're just gonna try to start walking the tire on here. If I can just get that bead to kind of cross over the edge there, because I don't want to strain it too much either. So I'm gonna try to ease it on there a little bit and see if we can get all 3 bars. And again, don't force too hard, and I would recommend putting oil on, but these are pretty crappy old tires. But they're Firestone, so the bead of the tire itself, unlike a super cheap Douglas tire, which I believe is actually made by Goodyear, but you know, it's a lot thinner, so it's a lot easier to tear that bead. Anyway, I'm gonna stop right there, put my foot on this bar so it doesn't flip back, but I don't want to start straining too much, so we'll have 2 bars doing the work over here, just to try and kind of ease the tire on a little better. And that should do this quite a bit nicer. So, oh, you can see the dry rot even on the inner lip here. So, again, not yet. These are old, but well, I guess that pry bar is the one that's staying in there because it has decided not to come forward. Oh yeah, not coming in, so step on the back side here. Actually, it might be too tight now. There it goes. Let's say, because when it starts to get too tight like that, you already know something's kind of wrong. Try to be careful on rims, but whatever. Whoops. Just a little further down. There we go. And just slowly work it in. It'll get easier as you get towards the very, very end. I just did tear that a little bit, whatever. Try to encourage it a little bit here. Yeah. And at this point, I think we should be to the point where we can just step on this edge of the tire and it should seep down in there. Yep. Now, we're going to get the air compressor. That's not our dog, that's neighbor's dog. Fuck off. Okay. I didn't put the valve stem core in yet. You hear it leaking out, so we got to find where that's at. And if we can't, then I like to just put a little bit of gas around the edge of the top bead here and then just light it real quick and it should pop on. There it is. I say I don't want to hold it when it pops. So you know, front and back bead. But we don't have a core in yet. It just makes it easier to get air in there faster without the core. At least that's from my experience. So I just kind of end doing it like that. I'll tighten this down. And that should be good. We're spinning the valve stem, so. Would you let go? There we go. Okay. How much PSI? I think it's like 32 or something. Max 44. 32 or 35, something like that. Yep, it's pretty much right on that marker there. So it should be pretty well balanced since, again, I flipped it before. So that little line is actually kind of back to where it needs to be. We will do 35. You know what? Screw it. We'll do 34. Good enough. 34.9. And put the valve stem core back on, and then I will show you that our tire is seated. Check that out. Ta-da! One tire. And it's pretty obvious how you take the tire off. You just take those bars and do the reverse. Instead of trying to push the tire on, you just peel it off. So there you go. There is a very trashy tire on a crappy old Dodge Daytona wheel.